everyone, I'm High Treason, and this is a video I wanted to make because I wanted to do a video before Christmas, and you know, I always do one around this time of year, but it's quite difficult to do stuff still, so it's going to be a small one. I'm like, I should do some on EDuke32. I could do Nuclear Winter, but everybody's done Nuclear Winter and it's not even very good. I don't want to play that crap. So you can play your paid add-ons and whatever. Because one of the things to me that makes a game awesome is the ability to mod the game. All the games that have stood the test of time, on the PC mostly anyway, are ones that have had mod tools available, and EDuke32 definitely does. No shortage of those, and they've just got better as the years have gone by. So can the community still make good stuff all these years on? Well, I reckon it can. And we're going to have a look at a community add-on called Duke Hard, which... well, yeah, let's have a look at it, because it's not Christmas themed in the slightest, but it's probably more fun than Nuclear Winter, isn't it? So let's give it a look. So, Duke Hard. It's an add-on for Duke Nukem 3D made by several members of the community. 15 mappers in total completed levels for it, though more did sign on initially. The premise was simple. A template was handed out with a small stairway, non-functioning elevator and an empty square building. Each mapper had to think of something to occupy that floor of the building and wasn't allowed to make serious alterations to the starting area, the outside of the building or the size of the building. Care was taken to make sure there weren't too many maps with the same kind of stuff in them, so there is quite a lot of variety, and there are 17 maps in total if you count the secret level. Generally, the player must find a keycard to exit each floor, at which point the level will end and they'll be taken to the next floor. Installation of the mod is simple enough. The mod requires EDuke32, which is the port everybody without some kind of mental deficiency is using. All you have to do is drop the contents of the archive into the folder you have EDuke installed in, and select the Duke Hard folder in the EDuke32 startup window. If it doesn't work, your EDuke directory probably has some loose COM files in it, or you've somehow done something wrong, which is an absolute mystery to me, so most likely it'll work and that's it, done. It's not really that difficult. Initially, nothing looks vastly different, except only one episode is available and the randomizer is there but locked. We'll talk more about the randomizer a bit later. Starting the episode will yield a new cinematic, which shows the aliens taking over the building and you'll be put in a lobby on the ground floor. The cinematic's pretty awesome. Not enough add-ons have their own cinematics, and I think that's a shame, but they've traditionally been hard to do. It's getting a little easier as time goes on with EDuke, but usually they weren't that easy, and it's easy to see why less people have done it, so it's a nice touch. As I said previously, each level is something different. Off the top of my head, there's an office, a shopping centre, some rich asshole's apartment, which does feel good to smash up, and a few levels that are just a little bit strange. One of which I won't talk about because, let's just say, I'd probably be a bit biased if I included it in this. So there's really quite a lot of originality in there. It's really worth a look. Of course, being from different people, the style and quality do vary somewhat from level to level, but as the levels are self-contained, this isn't so much of an issue. It's not like a traditional community build project where it's a single level with pieces built by different people, where the inconsistencies can become a bit grating. This one doesn't really suffer from that. On the gameplay side of things, one thing worth noting is that because mappers did not know where the level would be in the map order when they were building it, or what weapons or inventory were in the previous levels, the decision was made to remove all of the items at the start of each level. However, this isn't such a big deal most of the time. Most levels give you a weapon again rather quickly, except for Legal Joint. That's a pain in the ass, not letting that slide. And besides, it stops hoarding, because often in more vanilla modes where you get to keep things, I often find that I hold on to weapons like the Devastator forever, thinking, oh, I might need this later, only to then complete the episode and realise I never used it. Well, here you can't keep it, so you'll just use it, and it changes how you play the game, actually. It's just something to bear in mind. So I don't think it was a bad decision. It makes it more balanced. It was done for all the right reasons. Also, if you forgot to save your game, it means you don't lose much progress. If you saved 1 or 2 levels back, there's no point in loading that save if you die. There's no penalty for just restarting the level instead. It doesn't matter how you get there, you're not going to have any items at the start of the level.
so it has its advantages. Probably find it's quite fun wondering what will come next, because you never really know. Obviously the episode ends on the roof of the building and there's another new cinematic. The final boss fight isn't great, but that's less of the fault of the mod, and it's more the fault of the bosses in EDuke32 for just not being very good, and it does try to do something original with the boss. So it's still decent, it's still fun. Almost every level has some interesting combat, great design, innovative puzzles and architecture. 95% of the time anyway. I mean, let's face it, Duke3D is Duke3D, so it's always going to be fun. It's quite difficult to make Duke3D not fun. You can do it, but it's not easy. The only real offenders, I suppose, are Cinematic Lounge with its wonky palette and its overkill on the Liz troops at the beginning, as well as power out where a switch is really hard to locate. Otherwise, things flow well for the most part, such as in the final level where there are hidden switches, but all you need to do is explore to find them. And most of the time things are reasonably self-explanatory. Like technically Construction, Destruction and Executive do have puzzles in them, but they're self-explanatory enough that you're not really going to have any difficulty with them. You might just have to stop and give it a small amount of thought, which seems about right for an action-oriented game like Duke3D. Once you've completed the game once without cheating, you will unlock the Randomizer. All I can say about that is it does what it says on the tin. It will randomise the level order, so don't think it won't. I like to think Duke's going mental and he's just running up and down the stairs like some total loon instead of visiting the floors in order. But on a serious note, it does add some replay value, especially if you ramp the difficulty up this time. It's a nice touch. So, in conclusion, as I said, I don't have that much to say, because if you haven't played this thing, you really should, if you have Duke3D. Otherwise, why not get the Megaton or GOG version of Duke3D and hook it up to EDuke32 before giving this add-on a go. And one thing's for certain, it's a damn sight better than nuclear fucking winter.
Yeah, so there you go, that's Duke Hard, and I think it's pretty good personally. I enjoyed playing through that, and it was, to be honest, I'm going to be honest with you, what makes a change with that, it was actually well organised. You know, I think it's pretty obvious by this point that the level I won't talk about is, I had something to do with it, let's say that much. And I've been on a few projects with the community and they're usually very poorly organised, and I end up having fallings out with people and revoking my work. There's a beach community build project that I removed my stuff from because I got sick of people breaking it. This one didn't have that problem. Something has got broken in there, but it's not serious enough that I'm really that bothered. So yeah, props to Methy on that. You did a great job of running the project. You did do a very, very good job on that. A lot better than any other project I've ever been attached to. So yeah, it's worth a shot, this. And yeah, future of stuff I'm going to upload. Well, nothing's going to change too drastically, but as I think I've said before, I'm going to move more into software. I'm sort of tampering with looking in some operating systems, trying to adapt the formula I've got for overviewing hardware into overviewing software. And I figured, well, we might have a look at Windows for Workgroups 3.1 to start off with. So I'm messing with that. I really want to have a look at some builds of Windows Chicago because I find those really interesting. And I haven't found that many good videos on them. It's just people recording it running in a virtual machine. It's a bit boring in my mind. So yeah, maybe we'll do that. But I have something coming up in the near future because I managed to cobble together something I've called Flashback Relics of the Internet. And I have this old folder, it's just full of old flash files and crap from the internet, from some of it's from the 90s up until about 2004. So I'm like, well, what happens if I put that on the net? So I think it's about 14 parts total of that. There's quite a lot of them. So that'll be uploaded piece by piece, but it's already done. It's not going to affect the schedule. Obviously I don't run to a schedule and shit doesn't happen that often at the moment, but yeah. So I'm going to start uploading them, and when it's done I'll just make the folder available, so if you don't like the way I've done something with them, then you get to look at them yourself. Some of them aren't on the net anymore, so we'll get round to that. It should be fun. Anyway, I'm High Treason, and it's been a long time since I've done a video. How do I sign these out? I ain't even got my old Ergo anymore because of stupid drive corruption. Well, whatever, I'll see you later. That's all I need to say, isn't it? Right? I think it's a long time since I've done this. I'm rusty.
You have no chance to survive, mate, your time. Dick, 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 dick. You know what you're doing, pathos, heavy dick. Dick, 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 dick. You know what you're doing, pathos, heavy dick. Dick, 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 dick. For bait justice, pathos, heavy dick. Dick, dick, dick.
Money, good!